Hello and welcome to what I imagine will be episode 2 of Missle Found Fairmont Hardtop edition. Now, as you can tell, I have spun that Fairmont around so it faces inside the garage, and it's currently in the storage part of the shed while the wagon sits in the workspace. The good news is the wagon is now registered and even insured. Now, as soon as I can get the other 4 cars out of the way so I can get the wagon out onto the street, I'll take it for a test drive and go further than around the block to see if everything works. So more on that in whatever episode that ends up being. But for the time being, the plan for this hardtop is to make it look just a little bit less shithouse while it sits around inside the garage. And obviously with guards missing and glass missing and handles and door locks and all that other stuff missing, I thought to myself, what's the minimum I can do to improve this car in the early stages of this project while it just sits in the garage and I gather bits and bobs to do it. So what I thought was I'll find some guards, and the good news is I picked up 2 guards today for $50 each, and as you'd expect, for $50 they're not much to look at, but they are guards for an XC, but you know, close enough. Here are my 2 XC guards, and they are pretty crusty, but they will go on the car and they will help the car to look more complete and less abandoned. So that'll do. I mean, I will keep my eyes open for better guards than this, but you know, the price was right, and they will help this project along as they are, even though the colours are... And this one here has some serious patina going on, and dents. Lots of dents. I might be able to salvage this one, but again, you don't get much for your money when you're spending $50 on a mudguard. You know, they're almost 50 years old, so you can't expect too much. I should probably also add, there were other guards available on Facebook Marketplace, and I did message a few people about their random XB and XC guards, but only one guy returned my messages, and it was the guy that had these. So this is what I got, because that was the only guy out of probably 4 people that had random guards for sale that responded to me. So you know, you get what you can get, and I could continue to message the other people that have these guards, but they haven't responded to my first message, so too bad for them. But I'll definitely keep looking. I mean, look at the state of these. Look, so much rust. You could argue they're better than the baby poo yellow guard I bought on Anzac Day, which led to all of this, but not much better. And I don't have any donor guards to... I have some donor guard left, but it's not really going to lend itself to salvaging much of this, so these will probably just go on the car, and I'll see... I'll just wait. I'll wait patiently for more guards. So the plan is to bung my 2 $50 guards on the car, and while I was there at the guy's house that had the XC that he was wrecking, I managed to score the door handles and the locks, no keys, but locks, and all the inside door levers and arms and clips and stuff to make my doors work. So that's a good score. So it was $100 for the 2 guards and $50 for the handles and other bits and bobs that I got to take away with me as well. And in addition to that, I've bought $50 worth of wheel nuts so I can stick my 14-byte hot wires on this car, because 2 of the tyres that came with this car don't hold air, and obviously they're a random assortment of crap wheels. So I'm going to put my hot wires with my Y352s on the car just so I can admire it while those wheels are on it, because they still hold air even though they're about 20 years old. So that's the plan for this episode. Throw guards on, throw wheels on, possibly door handles and door locks, and wrap it up and just see how the car looks sitting in the shed. I need to move the car to this part of the shed so I can do all that stuff, because right now I can't get access to half the car. So I'll get that sorted out as well. I can't help but notice this car has a puny 2-barrel carby on it. Now, the vendor told me it was a 351 that he personally stuffed into this car from the donor ute. But as I look at that, what I must assume would be a 350 Holly, makes me wonder, is this a 351? That's a small carb for a 351. But we'll cross that bridge later when I'm ready to try and start this nugget. Okay, so I've moved everything around and now it's go time to get these wheels and these guards on this abandoned coupe. Just see how it looks. Might do the door handles too, but it's already 1:30 on a Sunday afternoon, so I need to get cracking. No rear brakes to speak of, just the hub. Have I mentioned how I bought this for the shell? Everything else was really just a bonus. But anyway, soldering on. It's very warm right now. As it turns out, the 10 wheel nuts that I bought for what I thought would be an even split between the front and the rear metric and imperial has turned out to be 1 metric wheel and 3 imperial wheels. So I've got 5 wheel nuts for 1 wheel and I've got 5 wheel nuts for the other 3 wheels. Fortunately enough, I've managed to make some of my leftovers work, so I have at least 2 wheel nuts per wheel while it sits in the garage. So woo, small victories. Summary time for episode 2 of Missle Industries' Found Fairmont Hardtop project. Now, these XC guards are on the car, but they are not the same as XB guards in a number of ways. Starting with the side indicator lights, and there's a non-alignment with the front bumper because I assume that eyebrow has too much meat on the bottom of it, and only 2 of the guard holes line up on the frame, so not the same, not even close to the same. They still bolt up alright down the side, but they have presented extra hurdles, which I will endeavour to work on as the days go by. I mean, there's nothing for me to lose from chopping those eyebrows up to accommodate the XB bumper, and the car has drawn first blood already. I've cut my finger open on that smashed driving light, so the next project will be to redo all these, cut up my guards so the bumper remounts properly, so buckets, headlights, driving lights, refit grille, further modify these front guards so I can get the bumper to bolt back up again, because as much as I like the Mad Max look that the car currently has, obviously can't stay like that long term. Grille is up there on the roof, and by and large the car does look much better now with a set of wheels on it that I like and a pair of guards on it. So let's summarise: $150 for the guards and the door locks and the door handles, and $50 worth of wheel nuts, and the wheels that I bought months ago because I like them. So that's about $1,000 worth of stuff to make this car look less like a shitbox and more like a viable project. So I'm happy with that. Should probably try and start the car at some point, but there's a lot of stuff missing. There are no rear brakes whatsoever, no drums, no slave cylinders, no shoes, no springs, no nothing. There is a drive shaft connecting the diff to the rest of the car though, so theoretically I could get it started and try to move it, but it doesn't even have handbrake. So what I think I'll do in the not so distant future is jack it up so it's at working height, and then see if I can fire it up and see if it selects gears, much the way I did with the wagon. And speaking of the wagon, drove around the block for the first time today, and as I came back up my street I noted the smoke billowing out from under the bonnet, and I thought to myself, I don't have a fire extinguisher in this car and I should probably get one. And so the car spent the entire day parked up in front of the house because I had other stuff to do. And then when I went to drive it again this afternoon before I ran out of day, I managed to snap the door handle off for the driver's side door, and then I couldn't unlock the door either because I'd never tried to do that. So I was effectively locked out of the car until I remembered that the rear tailgate doesn't lock at all, so I just climbed into the back of the car, unlocked the car from the inside, and told myself, just park the car into the house and call it a day. So on that note, see you next time for more train wreck shenanigans. Look at the size of those mud wasp nests. Goodness me. That's even worse than Krusty Wagon.